Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3 for CSEC already preparation. Yeah. Just check and see if the audio working. Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check. Not check 1 2 3. Oh, ite baka no. All right, good. All right, good. All right, let's see the issue now. Let's see the issue. Guys, we had a little bit of issue with the mic. Bring the charger for me now. Bring the charger for me. We had a bit of an issue with the mic. I don't know what happened there. Um, anyway, sorry for that. We had a little bit of a discrepancy with the mic. I don't know. I actually made a mistake and changed it to like a voice matting. But anyways, we're back. As we said before, starting with the English preparation for CSEC January. So the papers that we'll be working will be mainly January. Just plug in this if I'm
Which one, bro?
This one? Yeah. Well, I put it on this thing. Just let it on this thing. No, left it on this thing. No, left it on this basket. So you can plug it in now. It gave me a headache. Hmm? No, the computer commit suicide.
Down there?
Down. No.
Just don't touch it.
Anyways, guys, back with the thing again. So after the January paper, twos. Am I late? Am I not late? Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but I'm starting up these preparations very early because I want to make it more easier for myself when I probably start a marathon so you guys could be prepped up and stuff like that. I am the study prep CSEC, so we start things very early. So anyways, so this is English here, paper 2. This is for January 2024. I'm not working on May, June because it's for January. We will go on to May, June after this. We'll see how that changes. So we will be working out the entire paper. This is the whole night edition. So hopefully everyone is all right. I'm sorry for the bit of an auditory issue just now. That was with the stream. So anyways, we're back again. You guys are hearing me now. So we're back again. We're okay. So let's start. So read the following article on the effects of online shopping carefully. List 5 main points. Usually you will not want to exceed 120 words. CSEC does not look at the 120. If you read probably 130 words, they will only look up to the 120. So my advice for you would be to stay around the 100 and probably 110, 111. If you could stay between those lines, you are okay. So don't go above that. So without further ado, let's actually start reading. I will wait for the chat to catch itself so everyone could join. We will give you guys a couple of minutes. We'll start at 5 minutes mark, so I'll wait for you guys. Anyways, good night, everyone. Good night. Good night, everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing all right out there. Hopefully everyone is relaxed so we could start this thing. Anyways, let's start reading now. The world is new and ever changing, and in today's digital world, the fast, simple acquiring of goods and services is greatly desired. At a glance, people can be seen walking with their cell phones in hand, listening to music, texting, checking their bank accounts, and even shopping. The ways of old are becoming obsolete, with brick and mortar still retailers being swallowed alive by the online giants such as Amazon and eBay. On Monday, September 18, 2017, the popular toy store chain in the United States of America, Toys R Us, filed for bankruptcy after being afflicted with a $5 billion debt on the ever-growing online giant Amazon. Toys R Us decided to close some of its underperforming stores and in turn expand online operations. Toys R Us is not the only brick and mortar business that suffered at the hands of online retailers. Businesses such as Blockbusters, Barney's, and Nobles, and Walmart have all been affected by online businesses. Despite its hard hit on physical businesses, online shopping has proved to have many positive advantages for consumers. Online stores are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the issue of a store closing before the consumer can make it on time is completely eliminated. Online shopping is exceptionally efficient during the holidays. Shoppers do not have to bother with the long, expedited lines, and they get used to cut back on spending money on gas by staying indoors. Due to the lack of operational costs, online retailers can sell goods at lower costs. This makes the experience of online shopping not only faster and convenient, but it also is far cheaper than going to the physical store. Although these facts may make online shops look like the best course of actions, there are many downsides to doing online businesses. Back order goods can prove to be exceedingly trying to shoppers, especially during the holidays. Shoppers also lose a person to person communication that online retailer cannot provide. If issues arise during a purchase, having a human contact can resolve an issue faster and oftentimes more efficiently. It is also easier to be refunded as well. Online shopping is becoming an ever growing replacement to brick and mortar business. This change can definitely be seen as positive progression, but it also proved to be a great downfall. The loss of brick and mortar business can render many individuals jobless. This may hurt many people financially, and job opportunities for individuals in the labor force could drop significantly, drastically. You could think in any way you want. So, if I were to sum up this 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 short essay in in a couple of words, I would say that they're highlighting that, or they're comparing, or they're showing the changes between online shopping versus physical shopping. So that's what they're basically trying to say here in a nutshell. I don't believe anyone else could say it more simpler than that. So we have the basic gist of it. Now we need to find the main ideas, and this is some notes that you could probably take into mind. So notes. So there's some very vital notes. I'll not put it in blue. I'll put it in red because of it. It's sheer importance, and this is something that every C6 student should know. I believe that they should know before they even start writing anything. So first of all, this is mandatory notes on CSEC. So there's some things that you need to take into mind. So mandatory notes in CSEC paper 2. First of all, you must not exceed, you must not by any chance exceed um, 120 words. And personally, let me just be straight with you guys. If by any chance you go in the exam, you said the study prep guy, you said right above 120 words, you're lying. So do not, by any chance, I repeat, do not exceed 120 words. First of all. Secondly, use connectives. And if you guys don't know to use connectives, the link is in the chat below. Do not use connectives. Yes, use connectives. Sorry that. Use connectives. Don't just write an essay because you can write an essay. So the first point, do not exceed 120 words. Secondly, use connectives. Don't just write for the sake of writing. And third of all, or this is another third advice, is do not change the original text. So something that you really need to note is that when it comes back down to CSEC, when it comes back down to writing essays efficiently, properly, and good, you need to look and you need to read the text first of all. Why do you need to read the text? Because you need to understand the writer's intent. So that's the fourth point that I want to drill into you guys. You need to understand the writer's intent. Why you need to understand writer's intent? Because if you're going to write a summary and you change the original text, you will feel summary writing. Let me just say that again. If you're heading into CSEC and you change and you distort and you confuse and you basically wrote something totally different from the summary, or you read the summary and you said, okay, he said this, he said that, and you just push it in, and you end up changing the writer's intent, you will feel seasick. So that's something that I want. Not seasick, you will feel the summary writing. You might probably get marks from others, but I just want to get that out there. It might sound a bit rude, it might sound a bit bad, and I just want to say it plain as it is. Do not head into CSEC and you just blatantly change the basic meaning of the actual text. Like for example, this text is the effects of online shopping. If you go into CSEC and you write the negatives, you only write the negatives of online shopping. As we both know, this person who's writing this story here, the person from reading it, we could basically understand that they're looking at both sides, the positives on online shopping, the negatives of online shopping. We could see the negatives in the last paragraph. So if you're going into CSEC and like for this instance, you only highlighted the negatives and you did not highlight the positive, you will lose a couple of marks. You may probably not lose a lot, but you will lose a couple of marks. Instead of probably getting a solid 25, you might get a 15. That's just how serious it is. That's how changing the notion of this text could be dangerous to your overall grade. So I just want to get that out there so you guys could have the gist of it. So anyways, let's continue. So let's read the instructions. Let's read what we need to do here. Identify the main concepts and opinions in the extracts. Organize and express the ideas and opinions in your own words. Listen to that. That's where we get on to our additional points, which is paraphrasing. So do not use, or you could use back the author's own words, but I would advise you personally, and I don't want to sound personalizing it, but I would advise you. It would make your writing more easier. It would make it more simpler. So do not use, at least from me, this is the study prep guide's advice. Do not use the exact words in the SC or what's not. This is where we have paraphrasing. So paraphrasing. So we work with these for advice for now. I do have a lot more of points in mind. I did make a lot of videos that relates back to paper two. So I don't want to go back into it. I will post the link to the other videos that I made as relates back to paper two advice and stuff like that. So you guys could check it out in the description below. At the end of this video. Right now, live stream, I didn't put any description because I had a bit of issue with the audio. Anyways, let me stop yapping. Let's actually go into the paper now. So you could, when you're reading a text, you could usually find there's usually something called a main idea in every text, in every paragraph. To see, in every paragraph there is a main idea. In every paragraph there is a main idea. I repeated that twice because I wanted to get that in your brains. The main idea is the one sentence that you could read and see that this one sentence sums up this entire paragraph. That's what a main idea is. So the world is new and ever changing in today's digital world. The fast, simple acquiring of goods and services as greatly desired. So when we look at this here, they did present examples. So another thing that we could probably add, it might be long, so I'm sorry for that. But I want to really highlight some. I want to dig into some main points. So fifth, you do not include examples and statistical data in a piece or in a summary, right? You do not include stuff like statistical data. You don't include stuff like that um in your essay writing or in your summary writing. Sorry for that. You do not include examples. You do not include statistical data. So from reading here, it says the world is new and ever changing. And in today's digital world, the fast, simple acquiring of goods and services is greatly desired. From this one line here, this one beginning line, I'll highlight for you guys. This one line here is what we consider to be the thesis statement. This one lines create this line set up everything for the whole passage to flow, right? So the thesis statement is the line that basically sets up everything else so you guys could flow, so you guys could actually work. The thesis statement is what gets the paragraph rolling, is what gets the whole essay rolling. So the world is new and ever changing. Let's take that down. That would be your first point. That's the thesis statement. So we have our first point down, which is the world is new and ever changing in today's digital world. So that is our first point right off the bat. So we'll put that down as our first point. We'll put down a bit of elaboration. Simple acquiring of goods and services is greatly desired. Um, so with that, we have our first point. So you could usually find the main idea of a paragraph within the beginning, the middle, or the end of a paragraph. So take that into account. So let's look at this. So if you look at it, the main idea for this is that they're basically trying to say here that online shopping is by far more cheaper in comparison to like going to the physical store. So this we could usually find the main idea at the beginning and end, but you have to read properly. So that's the point of it. So they're basically trying to state 2 points in the second paragraph. The first point is relates back to online shopping is open 24/7. It's open all the time. That's just of it. The second aspect of the second paragraph is that it is also far cheaper than going to the physical store. So that would be the second point. So yes. So not only is it the online store open all the time, but it's also much cheaper in comparison to the physical store. So I could have used back the author's own words, but I actually changed it up a bit. I did put in my own ideas, and this is what I meant by paraphrasing. Don't just be over reliant on the author's thoughts. You could actually improvise. You could change up it. When he said stupid, you could say foolish. When you say nice, you could say kind. There's a lot of synonyms that you could use. So don't limit yourself to a couple of words. So where are we now? Yes, we're on to the third paragraph. So there are at least two main ideas within a paragraph, but I only took one from each. We'll go back to those later. Although these facts make online shopping look like the best course of action, there are many downsides to online shopping. So for the third point, they're trying to say that even though online shopping does have it positive, it also has it negative, such as lack of in-person interactions. So yes, we are done with the 3 points, and after we finish off the 5 points, I will take a short break. I will be back with you guys, and we will start back. So we already have our 3 points done. We don't already have our notes, and everything is going all right so far. Where are we now? So it says here, this can hurt many people financially. So the fourth point is that due to the online shopping, people are being put out of job due to lack of job opportunities. So only thing we have to do now is just get our final point, and we will finish off for now. I will be back with you guys in like 10 minutes or something, but it won't be too long. And then we have our last point, which is in-person interaction is in most cases more efficient than online or online in-person retailing is far more better in comparison to online retailing basically. So we could put that as a point or an idea. So yes, we have our 5 points right there. Let's just take it and let's put it where it should be. So yes, we have our 5 points done. Unlike that, we're so off to a good start. We'll finish up this paper and then we'll go on to 2023. Anyways, where are you guys tonight? How are you feeling? How is everyone going tonight? I haven't checked the chat in a while. Anyways, I will be back. We will start in writing. We will write the summary when we return. Just give me a couple of minutes. Anyways, people, welcome back again. I'm back. Coffee break. Coffee break. Anyways, let us write out this summary and let's get the ball rolling. Anyways, I did went on a little bit of a coffee break, so I just wanted to get out of the way. It's very late. I know it's late out there for you guys though. Coffee. Drink your coffee over there. Anyways, let's start. Um, let's write to this essay and let's move on. So we do have our main points. Our first point is that the world is new and ever changing. It is digital world. The simple kind of goods is greatly acquired. Let's paraphrase that a bit. The society, let's change up the words a bit. The society of today is ever changing, and due to improvements in the 20th century or the 24th century, online shopping is now more preferred in comparison to physical or in-person shopping. So with that, I did paraphrase the force the force point. So as I said before, guys, you have a lot of words to your disposal. Don't limit yourself to probably the same thing the person writing. Use your brains, people. It's not really that hard. Just read it and just think it back in your own words so that you yourself could have so it could be more easier on yourself. So I just want to get that out the way. So our second point is not only is the online store open all the time, but it's also much cheaper in comparison to the physical store. So let's continue. What is going on? Here is my thing. Things are weird. I think I'm just gonna pull out my notepad so because I don't know what happened there. Anyways, let me just put this up on the screen. I'm going into a new tab now so you guys could be on the same wavelength because I don't know what happened there just now. That was very weird. So anyways, we have our planks down now, so we could actually start writing very good now. We have our planks there, so let's start writing. Anyways, people, we cook with gas. So this here is the forest pint. This one sounds way better than the last. So developments in the 21st century have drastically changed the way shipping is preferred, as the world in today prefers a more digitalized way of shipping, as in comparison to the physical in-person experience. The physical in-person shipping that is considered to be obsolete in today's world. So with that, that's how you actually do probably a good introduction. So more than just that, we have our first point. How do we connect it? This is where connectives comes into play. Let me just put in some connectives so you guys could use when you're going to write your essays or when you're going to write your summary. So connectives could be like such as furthermore, more so, moreover, in addition. So we have a lot of points. So in today's world. So in the second point, we did say it not only is the online store open all the time, but it's more cheaper. So that's the reason why they're preferring it. The reason for this occurrence is due to the validity of online shopping being or having more accessibility and being relatively cheaper. So yes, we did put forth a couple of points there. So yes, we're doing quite good right now. We have three more points to actually complete it. So far, I would believe that we are at least around 60 words or at least around 40 to 50 words. And within the other words, we will probably be at the limit. We'll be at least close to the limit. So an advice is that use adjacent words when you're going to write your summary. What do I mean by adjacent? I mean, like, for example, if instead of saying he is big, say that he is substantiatively very big, and it makes your sentence long and it makes you sound smart in the case also, because in most cases when you have your points like this here, it will be very short. These points on its own will not make up 120 words. Right now they're only 545 characters, which is like average around like 70 words. So when you use adjacent words now, the process of actually writing of reaching the 120 words becomes so extremely easy. So if you could utilize adjacent words or words that make your sentence longer and makes it also sound smarter, you will it the summary will be extremely easy for you. So if you have all that in mind, let's just complete this, But our online shopping has its positive also negative side like a person. Um, so we'll use a connective such as however. I'm just adding all the connective here so you guys could see it. However, this is a connective. This when you're using the term however, you're actually bringing in a contradictory idea. So it's like you're going this way, and then when you say however, you go this way. It's like a girl probably come up to you and say, I love you. However, I love John. Anyways, it's like that. You get the idea. Cheaper. However, we have the breaking news. However, due to the lack of in-person experience, a lot of persons still would prefer physical shopping, as it is proven to be more efficient. And then we could put like another, this is another connective that you guys could probably utilize as a result. So we are already near our mark for this. Let's not jump overboard. Let's be more efficient. As a result, a lot of factories and jobs have been put out of business due to the sheer validity, due to the pure validity of online shopping. So yes, we only have one more point to actually close up. So as I stated when I was mailing the 2025 paper one for January, um, the thing about summary writing is that it doesn't need to be long. It needs to be very concise. It needs to be straight to the point. And you don't need. I didn't have any examples here. It was just I just stated what the author was trying to say, but in a more concise manner. That's what you need to think of when you're writing summary. So shopping. So let's look into our more points again. Online shopping, the world is ever changing due to online retailer put out jobs and be closed. For service is far more efficient. So we'll close off with a statement that looks at both sides of the argument. And the thing about argumentative writing, a lot of a misconception that a lot of individuals have about argumentative writing. They think argumentative writing is about arguing. It is about arguing, yes. But persuasive writing and argumentative writing are totally two different writings. Argumentative writing is looking at both sides, looking at the positive and looking at the negatives. We're not stating who is right, you know. However, when you're doing a persuasive writing, you are, like, for example, if I'm were to persuade you, and you, like for example, if you're atheist and you don't believe God exists, and I am a Christian, I would try to persuade you. I would try to prove that I am right and you are wrong. However, in our argumentative writing, none of us is right. I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm trying to argue with you. I'm trying to look at your side. And I'm also trying to look at my side. That's the difference between argumentative and persuasive writing. So get that idea to your brain. So whenever, and this is just an advice for my students and people who write on or watch my videos. I don't know. Probably a lot of you guys might watch other English people and stuff like that. But my advice for you is that whenever writing, for example, this in 2024 is an argumentative writing. You could close off an argumentative writing by stating something subjective to both sides, right? So we will do that. So in the ever-changing world, it can be concluded that both in person and online person shopping is necessary for the distribution and services. So with that, we have ourselves a very good summary. So we did not stray off the whole point. We did not do anything like that. We stayed to the point. So let's read it and you guys could tell me what you think of it in the comments. So developments in the 21st century have drastically changed the way shipping is performed, as the world of today prefers a more digitalized way of shipping as in comparison to the physical in-person shipping that is considered to be obsolete in today's world. The reason for this occurrence is due to the validity of online shipping being more accessible. Let's know. Let's know. Be more accessible and being relatively cheaper. However, due to the lack of inexperience, a lot of persons still would prefer physical, as it is proven to be more efficient as a result. a lot of factor, a lot of jobs have been put out of business. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Ceiling. Being put out of business due to the pure validity of online shopping. In the ever-changing world, it can be concluded that both in-person and online shopping is necessary for the distribution of goods and services. So if we were to look at it, this will be factory, sorry for that. So if we were to look at it, we could basically conclude that this was a very straightforward statement. We did not go off track, and that's how we want it to be. Just look at the main points and then summarize it, and then use connectives and use the advice. These are some of the connectives that you could use. So with that, I'm opening the chat. Let me see what's going on with you people. When I'm working the June C select paper, in the next stream. Due to reasons right now, because January's force, then C6, so I'm starting with the January students force. So I'm preparing very early for those students. So Stacyan McGabion. We are starting, just change lighting honestly. Grab that one. Yes, we are starting the June. We will be doing June's in January because I want to have it for both of my audience, because I know a lot of you guys are writing for June also. So as relates back to that, we will be starting on that very soon. So this is the January one. So the video has been going on for a very little while right now. Let me just see what's going on with the chat. So with everything being said and done, we will be starting back with the June. Not right now. With the June paper, we'll be starting that later. For now, we'll be just working purely January because I want to prepare the January students. And from today forward, we'll be working on. You could look in the channel description. We'll be working on EHSB, social studies, chemistry, that. You get the idea. We're in study prep CSEC. Um, we will be working on all those years. So with that said and done, see you guys out on the next video. Let me just open up the May. Let's see. We are working the 2023 after this one. All right, so everyone will be starting. So we did work the paper one a couple of minutes ago. So we'll work the paper once. We will continue in the next section of the paper twos for January 2024. We'll be continuing that later. But for the moment, we will be start working the paper once. So let me just put that on the screen. I will be back with you. All right, let's start this people. So it says here, he has been a staunch something for better healthcare system for the poor. He has been an advocate, meaning that he looks at both sides of it. Ready-to-wear garments are something in great numbers of the rocks in stores available. The students of different year groups said there's something the title most beloved teacher on Mr. They conformed, meaning that they gave it to him. They were told not to something the cause repair and disclose, meaning that they should not give all the information just like that. There are many who would try to something your effort because of their jealousy, thwart, confuse your efforts, or because of jealousy. Um, they were told to collaborate together on the project. That sentence is D. It is acceptable as it stands. In some traditional wedding ceremonies, money is thrown at the bride and groom. That would be misused metaphors. That would be right here. So that would be B. Disgusted with the situation, he decided to jump into the saddle and put down his foot. Um, that would be faulty in diction. It would also be misused metaphors because it's not used correctly in that instance. That would be B. Each of the children have an appointment with the principal. That is, the sentence is acceptable as it stands. That's okay. This sentence here is too wordy. Let's put that right here. He advanced a step or two to meet his attacker, who suddenly became alarmed and retreated back. A second. Anyways, we're back. So we're at items 11 to 15. Um, it says here some of the following sentences are unacceptable because of inappropriate grammar, idiom, or vocabulary. Some sentences are acceptable as they stand. No sentences contains more than one appropriate error. So it says here the doctor's attempts to resuscitate the patient was futile. That would be D. It's okay. If Antonio's attitude changes, there will be a vast improvement in his performance. No error. That would be D right there. One of the admirable characteristics, one of the admirable characteristics of the young, it cannot be is that's supposed to be are that they are not usually are. Um, one of the admirable characteristics of the young is that they are not easily scared. Um, no, is can be here. Is not a connective. They should have put a connective there. It's actually a connective. Since too much passengers were in the taxi, the policeman issued a ticket to the driver. Since too much, this incorrect. The correct format of this is not much. It's supposed to be many. So we put that right here. As John listened to the lesson being taught, he began to lose. It cannot be loose. It has to be lose, L-O-S-E, not L-O-O-S-E. Lose is like you drop this bottle or something. There's a different situation. Anyway, item 16 to 20 are moving at a good pace. So it says here, each sentence in this section has one word on the line. Choose from the four suggested sentences the word which is closest to opposite in meaning to the underlying word. It says she paid meticulous or careful. They said choose a word that is opposite in meaning. So if it's not meticulous, it is scanted. Here we know, 17. They lived in a large, sprawling, modern house in a very remote area of the porch. Um, correct answer for this is well kept. That would be like if you use a term like well kept. Your house is well kept into the society. Your house is very well kept. So for 18, James has a hatred for things that crawl. If he does not hate it, he is fond of it, meaning that he likes it. Um, the views expressed by Mr. Jones were inconsistent with those of the committee. They were very compatible. Incompatible meaning that you're inconsistent. Airline conveyed the new flight information to the passengers, meaning that they displayed it. If they did not display it, they withheld it. So that would be A. There we know. They saw the two men jogging around the savannah and they later proved to be Olympic stars. Begin the sentence with the two men jogging around the savannah. Um, when that, the answer for that would be that. If you want to write it out, it would sound like this. The two men that jogged around the savannah, they later proved to be Olympic track stars. It would have been in the situation. So read it correctly. Many of the spectators stormed. So that would be right here. Many of the spectators stormed the field. There's no the cricket match in it, or which many of the when many of oh. So many of the spectators stormed the field, so the match ended abruptly. During my time at school, I was involved in extracurricular activities. That would be I was involved in extracurricular activities or while I was at school. That would be it in this case. Um, the after. Just no. The step begin the sentence. We want to see the display at the museum in the city. After we visited the zoo. And the reason I said visited because this is past tense in this case here. And so that would be it. I enjoy having a room of my own and I try hard to take care of it. Um, I try hard to take care of my room since I enjoy having a room of my own. That would be B. So, yes, here we know. I did read this passage before, and I know a lot of you guys were in the thing, so or on the stream. So, I'll just put any answers for this. The poem "Forgive My Guilt," suppressing his guilt, admitting his guilt. That would be admitting his guilt. If you look at it, he said, "I'm sure of the sins I have done. Um, I lay in the frost with a gun," meaning that he killed something. So he's confessing his guilt. The ear run as flowers, that would be a metaphor because of the term as. Whenever you see the term as or is, it's in comparison with something else. That's a metaphor. The tone of the poem changes from one of factual reconciliation to one of emotional response. That would be in line 11. How do I know that? You look at line 11 right here. They cried like two sorrowful high flutes, signaling actual change. In line 14, it cannot be line 14 because a line 14 is just extension of basically line 11. So you guys could take a look at that. I'm just going through this here because I just want to close off it. What effect does a change of tone from factual reconciliation emotional response produce? Sympathy toward the poor sin, a dramatic result, a contrast in mood. The following words, sorrowful crying, baroque image, the following phrases in the poem has a similar connotation. That would be jagged ivory bones. Yes. And with that, we'll close off. I don't want to make it more longer than that. Anyways, guys, see you all the best.